how did it sort of feel like, again, with the energy, obviously Jimmy returning, did it feel like the energy from you guys was maybe a little different tonight?
I mean, at this point in the season, regardless of who comes in here, we got to play with that energy, that effort, that type of, focus coming in, with this 10 games left, and I think now, so being able to finish this season strong is key. And I thought we came out with the right intention of fighting hard, competing hard, and just leaving it all out there on the floor.
Defensively, especially, you guys seem very connected tonight. I know that Bam sets the tone with that, but it seemed like pretty much everybody.
Yeah, it was. We were on the string, covering for each other. That's how we got to again find consistency in that. That's been our problem all season, but we see what we're capable of, and that's why we're always so positive because we know what we can do. We just got to get to it more.
Tyler Spell's just giving you credit for being willing to play off the ball, take the pressure, and use it to make openings for everybody else. Was that the idea coming into the game, or did that develop naturally as you saw what they were playing with you?
I forgot they had Gary Payton, and then I heard before the game that he was starting or something, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. But he's a great defender. I love competing against him, but just trying to play the game the right way. Not every night I'm going to be able to score 30 or whatever it is. Like just trying to impact the game in different ways, and the ways I'm getting guarded, trying to learn new ways to be effective.
What can you say about Andrew Wiggins' ability to set a tone, whether it's on offense on Sunday or defense today, where he had a couple steals and no block in the first quarter?
Yeah, I mean, that's his versatility. That's why we've been praising Wiggs. Is he can impact the game on both sides of the ball. Like you said, the other night he scored 40, and then tonight he was impacting the game on defense, getting steals, rebounds, deflections, and just making it tough.
Tell how weird was it going against Jimmy Butler?
It was my first time playing him, but it was a normal game, it felt like.
Was there a conversation with him maybe before or after, just kind of reflecting on the time here? Or?
No.
All right, what was your reaction to the Khalil Ware circus shot?
Which one? I feel like all his shots are circus shots.
The one that was caught midair.
Oh, yeah, he put it back up. Well, I didn't know if it was the floater or the one he did like that. Nah, he's skilled for a 7-footer. He's if you ask him, that's like what he does. Like that's just his normal day right there.
Andrew, could you just kind of talk about just the general feelings, obviously facing your former team? I know you said going into it you were excited, but how did it feel just sort of actually interacting with them?
Felt good. Felt good. Like, some friendly competition at the highest level. I spent a lot of years there with the organization, great organization. Loved it there. Felt good. Felt even better getting the win.
Andrew, I know you've only been around these guys now for a little less than 2 months, but did you sense an extra energy, extra motivation entering this game, just with everything around it?
For sure. You can sense it on both sides. Obviously, when you play a former teammate or former team, there's always that extra little motivation.
Andrew, Coach Kerr called you one of the best human beings he's ever coached before the game. And I was just wondering, how would you just describe, your relationship with him and the lessons that he taught you as a player that you carry forward?
Coach Kerr is he's a great guy. He's a great coach, and, he put me in position to be successful. I had some great years there, won a championship, was an all-star, and, he helped put me in position to do that. And, even off the court, he's just a great guy.
Andrew, whenever we ask about Bam about being a leader, which is something he's kind of taken on the last couple of years, he talks about trying to be more vocal, but it always kind of comes back to leading by example. And was that tonight, leading by example?
For sure. For sure. He went out there, he set the tone early, with his physicality on both sides of the floor.
Andrew, obviously the two big scoring games for you, the last two games, but this game it seems like you were settled with the playmaking. Just kind of how much has that been asked from you just to be on the ball, playmaking, getting to the middle of the floor? I know you found Khalil a couple times. Just how important is that?
Yeah, trying to take what the defense gives you. They're a team, and they were packing the paint. I got in the paint a couple times, and tried to go up, and I couldn't. I couldn't finish. The thing was packed. They did a good job of that. But just if the shot's not there, just trying to find the open man and help create, and every game not gonna be a big scoring night or something like that. It's just you go out there and you do what you can do to help your team win.
Andrew, can you touch on the energy in the stadium, just the excitement that you heard tonight?
Yeah, the energy was great. The fans were great. It was a great atmosphere. It was a great arena to play in tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Bam, obviously second straight win here, obviously, and especially coming off the 10-game skid in that first win. Obviously, Jimmy coming back. Was there a little extra energy from the team that you noticed, or what did you think about the overall performance there?
2 games ago, we lost 10 straight. And to have that breakthrough, that's the energy that you need. It's not against anybody. At this point, we're scrapping for wins. It doesn't matter about who we're playing against.
Ben, what was it like to start the game on Jimmy, obviously a former teammate you've been in the trenches with, and how much are you enjoying this challenge of guarding bigger wings now with Kalel and the starting group?
I think it's a part of my versatility. I feel like that just adds value to me, obviously. I've been doing that quite some time when switching, but to start on primary wings is different. But like I said, man, the guy's been through the trenches with us. So it's the utmost respect to him. I'm just glad we got the win.
What can you say about Andrew Wiggins' ability to set the tone on defense? Obviously, he carried the scoring load the other night, but tonight he had a couple steals and a block in the first quarter, and just how that helps set the defensive tone.
I mean, it just sets the tone. I feel like that's what really won us the game, setting the tone on the defensive side, getting out, being active, getting layups, everybody seeing the ball go through. So now everybody's getting a chance to touch the rock. And when you got all guys playing at that high level, like I said, man, we're tough to beat.
Whenever I ask you your favorite question about leadership, leading by example, was tonight leading by example, and could you feel the rest of the team feeding off what you were bringing?
Yeah. It was a lot of outside emotion around this game. I'm not going to say for us because, like I said before, we're scrapping for wins, but it was a lot of outside emotion around it. And to go out there and have that type of performance is just, you give guys a vision, you give guys belief, you want guys to play to a higher level, and they did tonight.
Bam, just going back to the first dunk of the game on Jimmy, I'm curious, have you ever done that on him in practice during his time here at the Heat?
Nah. Nah. Like I said, man, I'm just glad we got the win. I don't care about who we was playing against. It's one of those things, we're scrapping for wins, man. So I'm glad we got the dub.
Man, you always talked about guarding your yard, and it felt like a lot of the coverages tonight, it was just single coverage, just whether it was you, Haywood, guarding Jimmy or others, it was just kind of guarding your own. How much do you kind of like that style where it's not, you can mix in the doubles, but it's kind of the base of just going out there and defending your own?
I mean, that's what we take pride in. When we don't do it, it's very glaring to us because we know we can do it. So, for me, man, I'm always going to take that challenge one-on-one. And then, like I said, guys will follow. And then if somebody has to take a challenge one-on-one to start the game, I'm going to infuse that energy.
Bam Spo was talking about the growth Kalel's shown this month. What did you think of his performance and the growth you've seen from him?
The wild layup. I mean, it just shows, how talented he is. When he's locked in, he can be a force in this league. He's only a rookie and he's getting all these double-doubles. He might break my record when he gets to year 8. But, that's what we need from him. Energy, flying up and down the court, making the right reads. And then every once in a while, the basketball gods bless you where you make a trick layup like that and you all over social media. So it's good to see him having fun. And we enjoyed this win. Thank you, Ben. Yep.
I know what time of year it is, and obviously the game means a lot in the standings and all that for you guys, but was there a little something extra? Did you detect tonight?
I mean, the energy in the building was great. You know, if you're a competitor, you love this kind of environment. We didn't do any kind of extra motivational speech, you know, leading up into this. It was more about us just staying the course with our process. I didn't go, you know, person to person to ask them, you know. We want to kind of just, you know, keep it steady, you know, right now, more than anything. But defensively, you know, that was probably one of our more consistent efforts, you know, all the way through. But look, I'll tell you what, you take out the New York and Memphis games, we've been defending for 6 weeks, you know, pretty hard. You know, that's been definitely something our team has rallied around, defending and doing tough things. You know, we're just continuing to get better, you know, defensively. And we kind of had it all together, you know, tonight. Obviously, that's a big difference when Curry is not playing. There's no question about that. He creates an offense unto himself, a bunch of overreactions and all that stuff. But I'm just talking about the efforts. And look, we've had guys out. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. This league is unforgiving. So it was good to see those kind of inspiring efforts. You know, from multiple guys, you know, throughout the seemed of the game.
Coach Bam seemed like he led that defensive energy, especially on both sides of the floor, and even starting him on Jimmy. Can you just kind of talk about his overall performance defensively?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's not even something that we just did for this game. Come on, like, look at the last 6 weeks. We're starting Kalel. He usually guards the center. Bam guards whoever the best, you know, big wing is. So he's taken on this challenge. It's a new development chapter in his defensive prowess. And again, we haven't been winning, so no one notices, and, you know, who cares? But it's, you know, the commitment, you know, to do a lot of tough things, you know. And so, yes, like, he made some inspiring plays right out of the gate, and that just kind of, like, energized everybody else and inspired the next guy to make a play. Then Kalel started making plays. Then, you know, you bring in, you know, Davion and H, and they're flying around, playing hard as heck. It becomes contagious.
I know you say you've felt pretty good about the defense in recent weeks, but even a couple of weeks ago, you were saying you're still trying to get everybody on the same page in terms of the details.
Yeah.
Places, and tonight, the help seemed pretty precise.
Yeah.
Almost everywhere.
I mean, yeah, the first part is like, let's just get everybody out there. You know, so we're like, I feel like we've been plugging holes for 3+ weeks. But through that, we're trying to develop habits and build our process. So I really commend the guys, you know, for just coming in every single day, just trying to get better. You know, that sounds like a given. It's not in this league. It's really unique how this team approaches every single day. I really commend the group. I admire the group. They inspire me to make sure I'm, you know, preparing them and that we're doing our part. And it's a very resilient group to be able to continue to get up off the mat and tackle the next challenge. You know, when you go through adversity, you have an opportunity. You know, when you're going through something really challenging and tough, collectively and not just totally fall apart, I do believe that there's an opportunity for exponential growth from the tough times, and hopefully we're getting there, you know, and just got to keep on going because, you know, Thursday will be the next challenge, and obviously that game will mean a lot, you know, with the standings.
Just speaking about the emotions of the night, is using that and figuring out a way to turn that into maybe an advantage, is that some sort of skill that people have, or maybe that's developed over time?
Well, I think we've been developing this for 6 weeks. You know, if you really like stay the course, you know, on your process, and you get more consistent to it, you don't want to become too emotional. I did not feel like we were too hyped up at all. It was more laser focused on the competition and competing at a high level and playing well. That's the fine line you always need to try to find in team sports. You got to toe the line of like intense competition. You don't want to like be totally out of control, and you definitely don't want to be like flatlined, where you're not passionate. I thought we had a really good, inspiring energy and balance tonight.
Coach Andrew, of course, he had 42 on Sunday, leading the charge on offense. And to start the game today, he had a couple of steals, a block,
Yeah.
Jimmy on a fast break. Like, what can you say about his ability to set the tone on both sides of the court?
Yeah, it's really important. When he's out there, he just makes us totally different. Look, this is what we've wanted to see, and it was just one of those things, that he missed 9 games, so we never really got into the kind of flow that we wanted to right out of the gate. But you can see how he complements everything we do on both sides of the floor. He's a weapon. You can throw him the ball. He's been a number 1 option before. He's been a great championship level number 3 option. We need him to be something more like the other, that. That's not better or worse. That's just what we need. And then we need him to take all these challenges defensively. Those steals, deflections, the block. I don't know how he gets the block on threes. But the more games, we don't have a lot of time, but the more games, we get together, I think you'll just see some of the continuity just kind of happen naturally. The other thing too, I think was really important was Tyler, he had a really good defender on him. I told him after the game that showed really good maturity. He played off the ball. He played as a screener, played like allowing everybody else to make plays. And because they were playing him so aggressively, that opened everything else up. And I don't know if he, because of competitiveness, he wasn't doing that in previous years. He would have wanted to have the pick and roll to try to prove it. And, he ended up being a plus 33 in a game that, he typically doesn't do. And that was great growth.
Coach, this is the first multi-game win streak since the end of last month.
Judas Priest. It's like
just
two games.
But getting back on the winning side of things, especially in the last 10 games, how important do you feel where the team is right now just to get back in the groove of?
Man, look, 3 weeks ago, I felt like we were really worthy to win. I thought we were playing great. This league can just be, totally unforgiving. But that's what you want. You want to build a team that you feel like is worthy to win. You're doing the right things more consistently. Without a doubt, we're doing that. Even in some of these losses that we've had, we're playing way more good basketball and borderline really good basketball than not. I believe there's something there, but we got to prove it.
Spo, that Warriors team has defenders like Draymond and Gary Payton and Jimmy who can just wreck offenses, and yet you guys shot 55 and 68. What did you like in a high motion game from your offense that allowed you to do that?
Well, the maturity of that. Part of that, what I was explaining about Tyler, but we've really been trying to develop, for 3 months, other aspects where it's not just pick and roll dominant. And it takes a mature team, to work on that and then not get the wins and continue to see that that's where we need to go. And tonight we're able to do that where we're not just going toe-to-toe against those guys, but getting them on the move, getting them in closeouts, getting off-ball stuff. I think you need that anyway to play against the best teams in the league.
You've talked about the growth of Khalil in different areas of his game, but this game he seems to really be dominant in the dunker spot and just kind of finding the comfort and timing and all that stuff. Where have you seen him grow in that area?
Not just to stand there. So if a team's now, more often are going to put their 5s on Bam for whatever reason, then they'll have a smaller guy on him. That doesn't mean we're going to duck you in and post up, but you can create a lot of havoc in that dunker spot. Somebody drives, it's an automatic dunk. And then that makes them rethink what they're going to do with that matchup. Offense rebounding, his crash percentage has gone up in the last 3 weeks from emphasis and showing that if you're putting a small guy on there, I think it was LaMelo was on him the first time 3 weeks ago, and he didn't have any offensive rebounds. Well, you got to really punish guys there. There's a bunch of different ways you can punish them, and then also in pick and rolls, and then a bunch of random different stuff. So he's got the IQ where he's starting to see it. And he's earning more opportunities. But he's impacting the game. That's the most important thing. Impact the game. And as a young guy, he's starting to get there.